So we are roughly 2 months away from the start of preseason and about 2 weeks away from the start of most training camps. So it is time to run down each division and kind of just give my off-season thoughts on them and kind of not necessarily predict how the division is going to play out. That will be for when we get a little bit closer. But at least what we're going to do for the next few weeks is just dive into how I feel like kind of what needs to be seen from each division. So we're going to begin with my division, the AFC East. We're going to start with the New England Patriots. And I think they're in a really good spot for the future. Obviously, this season should not have a lot of massive expectations for them. I don't think they're going to win the division or anything. I do think Gerard Mayo is going to be the coach of the future. I do like what he brings to the table, with it being that Belichick-style mindset for the defense, but at the same time, a younger, newer generation coaching mindset of basically just being more open to listening to his coaching staff. One of the main issues with Belichick, and James Wade said this on the podcast not too long ago, was that he was just really hard to get in contact with when it comes to fixing the offense. And that was a big part of why Mac Jones didn't play out there, which is why I feel like it's going to help that Bill Belichick is no longer the coach for Drake May. He has a lot of potential. I think he's going to be a really solid quarterback for New England. He's going to show it this season. And the big thing for his development is to have a consistent offensive staff, because I don't know what the Patriots were thinking with Mac Jones. They had Josh McDaniels his rookie season. It was his best season in New England. He played really well. And then they go with this really weird co-OC system with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. That didn't work. They tried to save it by bringing in Bill O'Brien. That went even worse. So I think Drake May is going to have a better chance than Mac Jones did. And also think the surrounding core is going to be a lot better for Drake May than it was for Mac Jones. I really like what they did in the draft when it comes to receivers. I think Jalen Polk is going to be a really nice pick and a potential sleeper, I guess you can say. I feel like he should have gone in the first round. And then Javon Baker. He was someone I was really, really hoping Miami was going to get. I watch a lot of UCF. He was one of my main receiving options for the later rounds. I really like his style of play. He's a really nice, deep, big body receiver. He's going to 100% be a steal of the draft. They got him in the 4th round. And then if guys like Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, and Tyquan Thornton can develop, I know KJ Osborne has been in the league for a little while, same with Kendrick Bourne. But again, this is a different offensive system that is not being ran by Bill O'Brien or a defensive and special teams coordinator coming together to run an offense. New England has a lot of potential for the future. The defense should still be really, really good because, again, Gerard Mayo, the defensive minded, just like Belichick was. And I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on this New England backfield. Ramondre Stevenson is 2 years removed from a 1,000-yard rushing season. He signs a 4-year extension. They signed Antonio Gibson in the offseason, who has not had the best production of late for Washington, but he comes into a new situation. He could really be a sneakily good sign-in for New England. The main issue I have is that tight end room and that O-line room. The tight end room really just needs a massive overhaul. I do like Hunter Henry, but he's really the only thing they got, as both the Jonnu Smith and Mike Gesicki experiments did not work out. And then the O-line room just needs some development. Guys like Cole Strange, he can stay healthy and come in and kind of be what they expected him to be. They did spend a first-round pick on him, so they have that going. And then again, the defense can stay healthy. They have a really solid defense. Christian Gonzalez is going to be a great corner for them in the future. Kyle Duggar going to be a great safety. And Joshua Uche is going to be a great edge rusher. The Patriots' future is looking really good, but for this upcoming season, it might be another tough year. Now on to the Jets. And oh boy, where do I begin? Well, to start, I guess you can say this is a make or break season. I think the mindset in that organization is they got 2 years on with this, but the hot seat for Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas is at the surface of the sun, it feels like. I mean, they desperately need a solid season this year, and they're banking on a 40-year-old coming off of an Achilles injury. It's going to be tough. They need Rodgers to get back to that last season in Green Bay form. When they made a trade for him, they were hoping he would be MVP form. Now you just want him to be healthy. And if he is, they could be a relatively solid team. I'm not as high on the Jets as I feel like most people are. Their defense is still really good. Don't get me wrong at that end. I do think losing Bryce Huff is tough. And replacing him with Hassan Reddick, who hasn't reported at all yet, is not a good thing. But it's still a really solid defense. Solid knows that side of the ball really well. Meanwhile, though, I feel like people are really high on this Jets offense for reasons I don't fully get. Yes, Garrett Wilson is an incredible receiver. But the guys they got behind him aren't anything special. Mike Williams, he's solid when he's healthy. Alan Lazard's on the tail end of his career. And, I mean, there's just not much else. Tyler Conklin is the main tight end option. And he's serviceable. But it just feels like they need more. Breece Hall coming off of an injury himself. He's hoping to get back to his rookie season form. And, I mean, there's just this offense. Not even going to the offensive line just yet. Where they added Tyron Smith, who is a solid pickup when healthy. And that's the key thing for the Jets is they just need to stay healthy. And I'm not fully sure if they can. I wouldn't be shocked if their first round pick, Fashanu, has to start earlier than expected. Which, if you were a younger team looking to build for the future, would be fine to have him develop and get some starting reps. But they are in win now mode. So, yeah, you want him to develop, but if him playing and he's not playing the greatest is going to hurt the team. There's no doubt about it. The offensive line needs to take a massive, massive jump for the Jets. I don't think it will to the level some other people are saying it will. I still think the Jets will be fine. But I don't think they're really going to compete for the division come November, December. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But that will come later on. Now we're going to talk about my Miami Dolphins real quick. And there might, going to be completely honest with what I'm about to say, there might be some rose-colored bias glasses as being a Dolphins fan. But I still think most of this is relatively true. Division title and at least a playoff win should be the bottom line this season. This is if they win the division but lose a playoff game, it's just not enough. A playoff win needs to be the bottom line. Whether it comes to the division title or not, I don't care. But you need to at least win the division. A lot has been made about the losses of Christian Wilkins and Robert Hunt and the other pieces like Andrew Van Ginkel, which rightfully so. Those are really, really solid players. They deserve the money they got. But it's not like they brought in no one. They signed damn near 20 free agents to provide depth and replacement production from those guys. The main thing, obviously, for right now in this offseason is getting the deal done with Tua before the season. It will save them some money and allow them to work towards other deals, like bringing back Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland, who are key pieces on that defense. But Tua has proven to be on the upper echelon of quarterbacks in the league. I'm not going to put a specific top number on it, but he is at least say he is top half. I'm not going to go into full details yet. I could do a whole video on where Tua ranks, but he fully deserves a market value deal. Some reports are saying that they're still not at that point just yet. Some are saying that they're just waiting for the guarantees to be figured out. I don't know what the issue is, but pay the man. The additions of Odell Beckham and Jonnu Smith should also help on some of the more off-script plays, as they're not going to be asked to go 15 plus yards down the field every play. Jonnu Smith will be asked to be an athletic checkdown option for Tua. Odell will be asked on third downs to get to the sticks and look for the ball and get open. So I really think that those two pieces, especially Jonnu Smith, as it happened before free agency as he was cut by Atlanta, it happened really early on and is not talked about enough as a key addition. Anthony Weaver as well, coming in to be the new defensive coordinator, is going to help the defense out a lot. And I know it sounds weird because they just had Vic Fangio running the defense, but now you have the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator, plus all the assistants and everything, having the same mindset when it comes to player relations and how to run a team. That is massive and doesn't get talked about enough how poor Vic Fangio ran his defense. In similar ways, it was with how Belichick was stubborn with the offense, Fangio was stubborn with the defense. And it did not help things. And a lot of the times when Miami's defense performed well, it was when they just weren't listening to Fangio, it seems. So there's that. And the key thing with Miami is just health. They got really banged up at the tail end of the season. If they can stay healthy, I like where they sit. I mean, it's seeming like they're going to get Jalen Phillips back come start of the season, and then Chubb will come in a few weeks later. But honestly, Chubb could be back by start of the season. I'm not sure. So staying healthy there was important, and surviving the early parts of the schedule. Just like last year, Miami's tail end of the season is not easy. Those final 10 games, 6 of them on the road in tough environments. And I mean, they have to go to Green Bay on Thanksgiving night, and then to Cleveland right after Christmas on a, I believe Monday night game. I'm not sure. It's definitely a primetime game though. I don't remember exactly what it is. I just know it's an 8:20 p.m. kickoff in Cleveland. It's not going to be easy, and it's surviving the early parts of the schedule. They did that last year. Last year, they went 6-3 by the bye week, which is what I expected. If they would have just handled the games they should have won, aka that Tennessee game, they would have won the division, and they get payback in week 4 for that game. Miami has a great team on paper. In theory, they should win the division this year, and they should be able to make a push. Just need to see them stay healthy and need to see the talent translate on Sundays later in the season against higher quality teams. This is the big step needed from McDaniel in this third season. Now to talk about Buffalo real quick. Previous division champions for the past 5 or so years at this point. They dealt with massive cap casualties in the offseason, losing a lot of key players, especially on defense. So seeing how that defense is going to kind of have to, I wouldn't say step up, but have to kind of refine itself, kind of forge a new identity with the pieces they lost. I still think their defense is going to be just fine. The front seven is still pretty much entirely intact, and that was their strong suit. So they're still going to have a great pass rush and defense. The run game needs to be more of a focal suit this season. That's what it was in the second half of last season, and that won them the division. James Cook needs to be the primary force of the offense, at least for the first quarter or so. You get the ground game go, it opens up so much more, especially with Josh Allen's arm and his legs. He's going to win you a game or two just by his legs alone. He could also lose you a game or two due to his hero passes in some games. Buffalo is a team where it really just depends on the coaching and if their defense can find themselves. I expect Kincaid and Dalton Knox to be kind of the more key pieces, at least early on in the passing game, at least until Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur, Curtis Samuel, and even MVS, until they find their rhythm within that offense. I expect mainly the tight ends to get most of the looks because Allen has most of the chemistry with them. They did lose Mitch Morse in the offseason due to cap casualty, their center, so they're bringing in a new center. That can be tricky, and we'll go into detail with this when we talk about Philly in who knows how many weeks. It might be next week, we'll see. But replacing a center is not an easy thing to do. The cadences, the timing of everything runs through the quarterback and the center. We're saying this as a Dolphins fan, but I have faith in Josh Allen and the Bills to find that timing in these off-season period with that new center. So I don't expect it to impact them too much, but it is something to keep an eye on. Now, the expectations for the Bills this season, I mean, I'm sure within the front office and maybe within Bills Mafia, if you're a Bills fan, let me know kind of how accurate this is. But I feel like the expectation is to get over the hump per se. At least maybe get back to the AFC Championship game, because it's been a rough few years since the last time you were there. And I think if that doesn't happen, let's say they do lose the division and get bounced in the first round because they have to end up going to like a Cincinnati, Baltimore, Kansas City, one of those locations in the wild card round. If they get bounced in the wild card, I feel like the seat for Sean McDermott is going to get really hot really fast. And if they miss the playoffs, kiss him goodbye, I would say. Because Buffalo's in a very, very tight, I don't want to say tight window, but they're in a window with Josh Allen at the peak of his play to win now. You got to take advantage of it. And again, this might be a retooling season where you kind of don't expect too much, and then next season is where you really go in. But either way, you need to win with Allen during this current contract he's in. I don't expect much this season. I do still expect him to be a threat. Like they're going to be playing for the division come December. That game between Miami and Buffalo on November 3rd could very easily be for the division. But I just don't know about Buffalo. Let me know your thoughts down below. I will do that week break in between preseason week 3 and regular season week 1 will be a week full of division predictions, just so that way I can see the preseason and kind of get a feel for all these teams. But yeah, those are just my quick bullet point thoughts for each of the AFC East teams. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.